Homeless Task Force.
Jana Wilkie, Case Manager at the Carbon County Action Committee.
Kim Miller, Executive Director, Carter County Action Committee, Vice Chair on the task force.
Rob Mentalella from the Housing Authority.
Frank Androwski, a real estate investor and owner of Blackrock Property Management.
Debbie Miguel, Mahoney Township Chair.
I'm Dr. Lisa Blanchard, chiropractor, but on the board of Family Promise.
Kevin Kane, caseworker from County Children's. Mike Franco, County Commissioner.
Susan Smith, Moving Out Liaison, about Melbourne, Monroe, and campuses.
I'm Basson from Corbin, Monroe, Pike, Mental Health and Developmental Services, and like the secretary, it takes minutes.
She does a wonderful job.
Minutes are great. I love reading them.
Oh, boy, thank you.
Beth emailed minutes to everyone that was on our
You weren't.
task force group.
Introduce our.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. That's it. That's why it's like,
Right over them.
sorry, guys. Sorry, guys.
I'm Brittany Barshevsky. I'm with the Willow Foundation. We have campuses here in Carbon County and Lehighton and in Mahoning Township. And then we also have a campus up in Hazelton.
And I'm Kathy Henderson with Representative Doyle Heffley's office.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. So we could get started. Where was I? Beth had sent out the minutes. Do I have a motion from anybody to approve those minutes?
I'll motion.
A second?
Second.
Thank you. Before we get, usually when we have these things, I give some statistics, Ryan gives some statistics, Rob does, Janet does, and we're gonna do that. But I wanted today's meeting to be a little different. I wanted us to brainstorm, come up with some ideas. We have, we're starting, we have a housing committee and that's transforming into a home, housing solutions committee. And we're going to meet, the evening of July 14th, is it?
Yeah, I don't remember, but that could be it.
Yeah, July 14th. So we're gonna meet here and Frank, I'm so grateful that you're here today. We're going to try to entice or elicit or try to get some property managers, realtors, landlords to come and talk about what their requirements are. Because that's one of our biggest problems, at least on Family Promises end. We have folks that would make wonderful, wonderful tenants. They've been through financial literacy classes. They know about budgeting now. They've been through the homeless. They've lost their homes. They've been through this process. They would probably be better tenants than anybody you could get off the street, but they look horrible on paper because there's low credit scores, there's past evictions. So that's preventing them from moving on to sustainable housing. So we want to try and address those situations. We want to see if we can come up with some kind of government funding or foundational funding to what's the word I'm looking for? Entice maybe an incentive for property managers or landlords to be willing to rent to these folks that do not quite fit, they don't look stellar on paper. But maybe if a landlord would be given an extra incentive, maybe they would be willing to work. with these people. And then, you know, a year down the road, they're gonna say, geez, this family is a great fit. They've done improvements to the property. The property is wonderful. It's clean. They pay the rent on time. So that's something that the Housing Solutions Committee wants to really work on.
Kathy, may I be a member of that committee too?
Absolutely.
Could you also, I know it's tad idealistic, but expand that we're hoping this Housing Solutions Committee will have short-term goals, being the incentive for landlords, as well as maybe midterm and long-term goals, that we could actually see maybe some housing development. You know, because my point continuously is, regardless of what we do, if we don't increase the housing in the area that's available, accessible, affordable, sustainable housing.
Is there some way, and I've been talking to the representative about this, that we can organize a Habitat for Humanity group in this county?
That would be wonderful.
Because that would assist with a lot of issues that we have in helping people get, like the people you have here, they're ready to go. That would be a perfect program for them to learn and then to also work into their own house. And if people don't earn or own their own houses, they're going to be more apt to be responsible, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, we've had families, we have a 90-day program. What's the word? 200 and, what was it? 200 and some odd days. Because
Most was like 309.
I don't want to think about it. But Kathy's not gonna throw a baby out on the street. You know, I can't do that. But what happens is we have a waiting list of over 123 families waiting for our services. Do we have a high success rate? Yeah, we do. I mean, 98% of our families move on to sustainable housing. When we had the cold weather shelter, um, we had 12 individuals here. And and there's two, I'm gonna back up and I'm talking, I had a lot of coffee. Just Ryan, just kick me when I'm rambling, please. Um, we work with, I hate to pigeonhole people, but there are two types of homeless people or unhoused people that I come across. I come across the situational homeless, that job loss, reduction in income, divorce, domestic violence, fire, whatever kind of disaster happened, that's what landed them where they are. And then we have, I hate to say chronic homelessness or homelessness by choice, but many people in the encampment fall into that category. Many people that are living out of doors fall into that category. And we took a big gamble this winter and I said, let's open up in the very space that we're in, other than our family shelter. We had 12 individuals that were unhoused. They were living outside. And out of the 12 that we had here, through case management, I have some wonderful case managers. Don't get a big head. Uh, we 11 of those folks went on to sustainable housing.
Awesome.
That's amazing.
The 12th, he wanted to go back to his tent, and that was his choice. And the man was very happy to go back. Like he thought he handed him $1 million. So that's just, I'm not saying that happens with everybody. That's just our experience this past year. Okay, I talked enough. So I really want to open up the discussion with, maybe we can do some outreach to, like, we have encampments springing up all over. We could maybe talk about doing some outreach. We could, I don't know what anybody's thoughts are. So I'm opening this discussion up. What are people's ideas? What do we want to do? What direction do we want to go in?
Can I chime in?
Sure.
So, Once again, I'm Franklin Grasso with Flag Park Property Management. We have housing available. We have housing available. We work with, Carbon County Section 8. And, from our perspective, right, a lot of times, a lot of these investors that invest in these areas, but these properties go through like underwriting processes where 99% of the owners that own these properties have mortgages on the properties, right? So like when it comes down to it and I start receiving applications, they don't know any better than what's on paper. So like when I bring them, hey, look, this is our applicant's credit score, these are their income requirements, this is, it's all right there in front of them. A lot of times that's all they have to go off of the SAC, right? So they set some policies and practices and standards of what they believe a good tenant on paper looks like, right? And we all know that people fall on hard times all the time, right? And credit scores don't really determine if somebody's a good candidate or not. But that seems to be their process. Now I can advocate for people. We do in-person interviews, but mostly what they're looking for is they're looking for people with right around a 600 credit score, and they're looking for somebody that can cover the rent with a third of their net income, right? So for them, when they look at those factors, that determines the amount of risk involved in placing a tenant. We're not steadfast on that. We are flexible, but like it needs to be somewhere within such requirements. If not, there needs to be some sort of guarantee that like, okay, if these people aren't able to cover housing, right, and they're not employed and they don't have good credit scores, who is paying rent, right? And how long are they paying that rent for?
Oh, and
Yeah, and so our big thing is like, it's also about tenant retention, and it's a bigger picture than just putting somebody in a property and like, having them stay there for a year. We're looking for long-term occupants and somebody that ultimately is going to secure the person that purchased the home to invest. You know what I mean? So we do have housing. We do it like, we have, right now, I was just like looking at my list before I left here. There's probably about 40 to 50 vacancies that we have available right here in the Carbon County area, right? So it's not so much the lack of housing, it's I think the lack of resources that are displaying these houses, or the lack of funding. And I don't know what that side looks like, right? Like that's where you guys seem to come in. I don't know what funding looks like. I don't know what, I just know that when I go present something to an owner, they want to know that their investment's secure, right? At the end of the day, they want to know that somebody's going to be taking care of their property and they're going to be paying the bills. I think it really comes down.
Frank, what's your, I'm sorry, what's your average rent, monthly rent?
Yeah, no, it varies, right? And I've been looking there are a lot of other investors that are moving into the area that I think they're asking exorbitant rents, right? Typically in this area from town to town, you're seeing anywhere from 700 to 800 for 1 bedroom, 800 to 900 for 2 bedrooms, 900 to 1,000 for 3 bedrooms, so on and such forth. Now, I do also see like it also depends on or that I look at that determine fair market value on the property, right? How close is it proximity to the schools? How, like, all that stuff determines the rent. So I don't think there's really like, I can't give a definitive, like, this is what it's going to be, but I like I said, tenant retainage and
Kathy, your mic keeps muting.
Or typically, do they require first, last security?
so, in the state of Pennsylvania, legally, you're not allowed to ask for last month's rent. So, it would be first and 2 security deposits. So we're only allowed to keep 2 security deposits for a length of 1 year, at which point we have to issue one back. What we do is we come in, we do a quick inspection, we make sure everything's where it needs to be, and then we issue that rent back to whatever the issuing party is. We have loosened our requirements with that as well. So right now, we're looking for first and one superior deposit for move-in, which has changed from past years.
Well, I just wanted to intervene 1 second. Janet, you're chomping at the time. Frank,
Yeah.
most of the people in my shelter, if not all, actually all are employed. And they do have income and they do have,
However, most do not meet
right,
the 1/3.
right, they do not.
A lot of Carbon County's population,
Does not.
not even homeless or near homeless, do not meet
1/3.
1/3.
Yeah.
A lot of working people, working people in the family do not meet.
It could be tough, and that's why, like, I don't know if there's alternate, resources for funding or where. Just to also be, candid about this, right? We've worked with family problems in the past, right? There have been some candidates that we have brought into some of our properties. And just looking at overall analytics of what that looks like and what the success rate was. Just to be transparent, it wasn't great, right? So a couple of them ended its eviction proceedings. And like, those are some of the things I have to take into account, accepting that.
Yeah, you're,
Average family size and family problems, mom, dad, how many kids?
It varies. The largest family that we usually is 5. Average family is usually 3 people or 2 people. I do serve single women as well. So it varies.
My question is, this gentleman just said a 3-bedroom is approximately $900 to $1,000. You add in food, electric, cable, car insurance, cell phone bills, you're way up over.
Heating, yeah, they can't.
$2,000, there's no way they can afford the rents that he's talking.
Right.
We need more subsidized housing. We don't have any in the area. That's, housing does a great job. But even that, has increased with the governor, messing up with the budget. The number of people plays a big part in the availability and the sustainability of an apartment or house that's gonna cost $1,000 just to rent. But then you add in all the other expenses and even if they give them the $1,000 rent, where are they coming, like Kim said, they don't meet the criteria. And a 600 credit score is not going to get you a mortgage or a decent rent availability in this area. And, we look at it, I look at it all the time. And, I'm just new to this and I'm like, that's not gonna help. I mean, he's doing a great job. I mean, if he has 40 or 50 homes, but then we've got to figure out subsidized housing or more Section 8 or, like you said, they all work. But
When
are
the
they
other-
working-
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Are they working a minimum wage job that at what's minimum wage now?
I mean, most of what are they making? Like $15 an hour?
if they're lucky.
If those-
12.
They get that. So they're taking home maybe what, $250, $300 a week.
Right, so
Then you have gas to get to that job, you have food for your kids, it just doesn't work.
And the other issue is childcare.
Yeah, exactly.
If you have 2 people that have to work
You're working to pay
to pay
child
childcare,
support
yeah.
or childcare.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work. The numbers don't work.
Yeah.
And many of the jobs are part-time. They'll come into our office and they'll say, oh, no, we're gonna work 40 hours a week. Then we start getting the pay stubs and they're working 32,
Yeah.
29.
They don't want to pay insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they can't count on that
It's not-
steady
it's not
income every
steady.
month, so it does change.
And the way people are getting laid off nowadays, I mean, you can walk into work on a Monday and have a job. And Tuesday morning, they're gonna tell you, "Oh, sorry, we don't need you anymore, or we don't have the funding for you, or whatever." Now, you guys have to try and compensate for what was just taken away from. them. I think we have to work with some of these employers for more sustainability. We can't tell them we have to keep them,
Right.
you know.
And Rob, I'm not attacking you because it's not your decision. I know this, but, so we have in our shelter folks that are hardworking. They're making the 15, 10, $12 an hour. So subsidized housing would be wonderful for them. It's what, a year wait in Carbon County?
Is there a fast track program between family promise and housing? And I'm just wondering, I'm new to this as well.
No,
Like, do you guys work with each other, with the families that might be in more need of housing? To push them through the Section 8 program, because we do accept Carbon County Section 8.
well, here's the thing, it's a year's wait, so our,
This is a minimum of 2.5 to 3 years.
us-
I just had a friend of mine apply and they told her at least minimum 3 years.
so what our folks are doing, tax-paying citizens of Carbon County are applying to Schuylkill County, because if you're homeless, you go to the top of their housing list and it moves very rapidly. So Carbon County is losing these taxpayers that live in Carbon County and they're moving to Schuylkill County.
We manage properties in Schuylkill County as well, but we don't accept Schuylkill County Section 8. There's a reason for that. It's like so Carbon County Section 8 pays 90% of fair market value. Schuylkill County right now is at about 50%. Right, so like for a one bedroom property, and I don't know the exact numbers off the top of my head, but Schuylkill County might only give a landlord $400 a month for one bedroom. Where it's just not enough to sustain the overhead, right? Like they have mortgages, they have taxes, they have insurance, just like everybody else does, and they can't afford to take those tenants.
And
On the other hand, has, I don't know if it's more funding or where their pay scale is, but they pay 90% of their market value.
And I know that we're hoping that we can have more people at that July 14th
Right.
meeting to even discuss some of that, especially some landlords and.
Right, yeah, absolutely, like that's,
But because, I forgot where I was headed for this, because we're indeed looking or thinking of some sort of incentive program, but. The resources are limited, and although you've quoted some rental for 3-bedroom homes, I don't think we see that.
No, I was just, when you're done, go.
Okay. Because even to say, where's the guarantee going to come from if they can't meet it? I don't know what an incentive program can do, but we might say, here's an amount of money that can either cover damages or be there available if somebody doesn't rent, but there's not going to be any guarantee for ongoing. Because we, even just with the resources that we've had through the years, fortunately, I had an open position, so my board allowed me to reallocate some funds. We were able to help more families than what we would have been. We would have been able to help had that position been filled. And that's because the rents keep going up. And the amount that we have available to help people isn't growing at the same rate.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, the real estate market here has been pretty volatile over the last couple of years. And like, just so you understand where we're coming from as well. It's not like when we raise these rents, it's not really an importance of, okay, we're trying to put more money in the owner's pockets. Don't get me wrong, at the end of the day, investing, like people are in it to make money.
Sure.
But we have to stay within a fair market value range, right? So like the reason where that fair market value comes from is number one, the price they pay for the house, right? So if housing prices have went up and now this landlord has $100,000 mortgage as opposed to a $40,000 mortgage, obviously there's going to be a need for more rent. Not to mention over the past 3 years, our insurance premiums have almost tripled, right? And not to mention everybody else is feeling the effects of it too. Taxes have went up as well, right? So like there's circumstances apply and like there's factors across the board that are inflating those numbers, right? It's not necessarily like a landlord like, oh, we're gonna get $1,500 for rent and we're gonna put, $1,100 of it in our pocket. That's not the case. I see these people's numbers and they're lucky to cash flow maybe $200 to $100 to $200 off of each property that they own. And that's after all their bills go out, and that's in the hopes that nobody's gonna destroy their property. There's no deferred maintenance, there's no CapEx. There's a lot of things like that somebody doesn't move out, that the place trashed. It's not, real estate is not, these people are not getting rich anytime quickly, right? It's something where they're parking their money there. It's, you know, it's something to build wealth and equity, but I'm watching it and they're not, I have more people pulling out, not than coming in. You know what I mean? So it's just something.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, that's an interesting perspective, Frank. I hope you can make our housing solutions meeting
Yeah.
on that will be, we can hammer some
I
of
have a
this.
question for Frank.
Go ahead.
When you mentioned you have 40 or 50 properties available, where do you advertise them?
All over the place. So we manage right around 500. Right, currently we have about 40 that are available in the market. So we use a software system where we put the listing on and it sends it out to about 25 different websites, Facebook Marketplace, Zillow, apartments.com, realtor.com, all
Yeah.
those places.
I use PA Rentals,
Yeah.
Carbon County,
They're
and that has a lot of Zillow and a lot of Truly and stuff on
they
it.
all kind of talk.
I only see a handful of Black Rock.
So,
I'm wondering where I'm missing them.
I'm surprised, yeah, so I know if you, and I'll give you a website too, it's just blackrockpa.com.
Okay,
That's where all of our.
I'll look, yep.
All those things are on there, and anything that is section 8, where like, if you do have somebody that's,
We haven't had a Section 8 person since Wednesday.
anything incredible.
Why is that?
Okay.
Because it takes a year. Over a year. So I just have one question, Frank, and I'm not picking on you. Because I can't help. Now my family promise director's hat on. So, okay, and I've had people with fine credit scores that could do the 600 or whatever. They see like 4 listings to BlackRock. Okay, 4 apartments they're going after. So they're getting nailed $40 an application.
No.
So that's what's happening because
It shouldn't be, so we only require one application, right? So you only have to apply for one of our properties and then that application is transferable. Anybody that's reapplying to properties that should not be doing that, it states it on our website, you only have to apply to one property. So like, I only have to run your background check, your credit check, everything one time.
well that's good to know because they were and somebody at your office was telling them that they had to pay for it.
Yeah, no, with only one application, you do not have to reapply to each property. You only put it in once, and that really just pays our overhead for your credit check, your background check. And for, you know, any of the traffic that we've got.
So going forward, if someone comes and says they had to pay multiple, or they want the second fee, can I say Frank said you don't have to do that? Okay.
Because even one of my staff members spent $240 on background checks and whatever.
He's not the brightest guy.
From landlord to landlord, like my credit, like we don't accept other people's credit reports, right? So if for some chance, like you came to me with your credit report, it all needs to be ran through our software because that talks to our investors, right? But there's only one time that you have to apply for those. Yeah.
Okay, good.
You do not apply for each property.
Thanks for clearing that up. Go ahead.
No, I
You're-
asked my
Rob.
question.
Okay, I just wanted to share some numbers that. Well, just a different story, and this is from the HUD website. I wanted to pull them up from the fair market rents. So in sense, this is kind of like what HUD goes by as the gold standard for this area. So for a studio, it's 1130. For a 1-bedroom, it's 1341. For a 2-bedroom, 1634, and for a 3-bedroom, 2087.
Oh my God.
So that's with utilities included. That's a utility, that's also a utility stipend in that. So that rent doesn't just go to the owner, there's a utility stipend within that HUD package. And correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know, I'm pretty sure that that's also going to be your water, your sewer, your garbage, your electric, depending on what kind of heating source you have. There's a portion of that that's allotted, so, and there's charts that we go by, where we're able to tell county by county town by town, what they charge for water, sewer, garbage, et cetera.
The problem is Lee Heighton has their own electric company. So Lee Heighton's bills are triple what PP&L's bills are.
So they're aware of that.
So when they're paying $1,000, that electric bill, correct me if I'm wrong, is probably $200 or $300 a month. So. I mean, you're looking right there at $1,200 or $1,300 a month, just for electric. That's not
Yeah.
water, that's not sewer, that's not garbage, which he claims is all included in the rent. I have people that I know that that's not the case.
No.
And they're still being hammered with it, with these extra expenses, and these people can't afford, even your numbers are tremendously high. And
Right. The other thing I want to ask is, and if you have properties in Ellsworth,
We do.
and this is something that I was gonna mention to the commissioners, is you're meeting with them on Monday, but have you had impact on Act 43? Do you want to talk about it in regards to the water authorities?
Who's on it?
Yes, a huge impact.
That is what's coming up.
Yeah.
And this is a little bit different because it affects affordable housing tremendously.
It was a huge impact on us, and for those of you that aren't aware, Lansford's water department just recently, their bills went up about 300%, give or take. Correct me if I'm wrong. And you know, for people, for residents of the town,
Why did these
you know, I always imagine
go
from
And we're-
somebody else's point of
We
view,
can't-
you're used to getting a
we can't
$70
what they charge
water
for
bill, and then out of
utilities.
nowhere, you get a $250
Yeah.
water bill, and
And we
you're
can't
on a
do it,
fixed
we can't.
income, and we understand, and I've actually had some investors that had deals in the works where they were about to close on the property, all this went down with the water department, and they bailed on the deals, and they will not be purchasing Lansford.
So Act 43 is something that was mentioned, it's across Pennsylvania, so it's just not a local issue. But it's across Pennsylvania, and water authorities, in a sense, lobby to get a rule, a law established where if fee per, in addition to the amount of water being used. So that's created some challenges and hardships with regards to different areas. So I want to bring, there are a lot of factors coming into play, especially when it's affordable housing, that it's just, there's a lot of factors to be in play, so.
Right. When you give me your numbers, basically there's 80 to 100 home rental units available throughout Carbon County. Like if you're sitting on 66, you're controlling 2/3 of the market.
I wouldn't not necessarily say they're all on Carbon County, right? So if you look on our website, and I'm just using round numbers, I can get you like more exact numbers on what we have. But it also depends what sources you're getting them from, how many private landlords are out there, how many property management companies are out there.
So I think with this group, and I'm would be looking for is if you're controlling, and we'll just take if it is 2/3 or whatever that number is, of the number of which that controls the rent throughout, addressing the concern that you've cornered the market.
I mean, I wouldn't really say that. So you gotta think with the amount of rentals that are in Carbon County, it's, as a company, we manage about 500 properties, and it's between Schuylkill, Dolphin, Luzerne, Carbon. It just happens at this moment that we have about 40 to 50 vacancies available.
So with that volume, what the group here would be looking for is of that volume you control, what the landlords would be willing to work with this group within the parameters that they could do. Because those that are in it to make money or simply provide rent, that's a whole different group. But is there a group that's willing to work with the affordable housing and provide those homes?
You mean,
Like there's owners out there that gotta say, okay, you know what, I really do wanna, there are people out there that say, I'd really like to work with and help the homeless, or I'd really like to help provide some affordable housing. And then there's other that are simply there to make money. And I get it, but everybody wants their bills paid. So, I mean, if we can kind of find, if there's a group of owners that are willing to take a little bit less or work a little bit for lower funding, are there any there? And if there isn't, then
I'm gonna say, I don't think I have any owners that have taken money that they've made or investment money and decided, hey, I'm just gonna give away the properties, you know what I mean? Like, it's.
I'm not asking for that. I'm asking is there's people, is there owners that would be willing to sit down and meet within the guidelines that this law has to run so that there can be housing and funds provided? Like maybe instead of getting that $1,000 a month, would they willing to be take 800 based on the fact that everything would be
I
taken?
think it depends what those guidelines look like, but I think they would have to be established first for me to say, hey, look, these are the guidelines, this is.
Well, how about, is there guidelines that they would be looking for? What you could bring back? Like, what are those owners looking for? I mean, if they won't, if 600 is their bottom line, 600 to credit score, would they take a 5-4?
Frank, I'll even throw another idea out at you too. In addition to that, think of that. Here's another idea that I have had, and it kind of falls into that rent control. But let me just throw it out to you. So if we got a grant, X amount of dollars,
Right.
and you floated it by your landlords and said they could take a grant from us to do some renovations, doing it. But in addition to that, they've got to hold the rents for a certain amount of time, 3 years, 4 years, whatever the case may be. They can't raise rents for that amount of time because they took that grant in order to do renovations or do improvements for 20, and yet because they took that, they sign a lease with tenant and say,
For X amount of dollars for a flat rate. Yeah, I could absolutely see that. And look, I'm all about staying solution based. Let me be like really forthright with like, this is my community too. I live here, right? We're not here to like, to make it more difficult on everybody. I'm just trying to like come to a resolution that works for everyone, right? I can't have one person, I can't have it be heavy handed on one side. I can't have my investors take the burn hit, nor should the community take the burn hit, right? We have to find a middle ground that works for everybody. And I think that's where like this board or this committee comes up with like, these are the guidelines, this is what we're willing to pay, this is what we're able to pay. And then that's something I can present to the owners. For me to just go back to, so you gotta think again, I work with over 50 investors. For me to just go back and like, hey, we take less for rent, or we like, I need to have something concrete where like, it really comes down to numbers, right? Not many of my investors are really emotionally invested in these properties. 75% have never even seen the properties. They know it's somewhere that they park their money and that they're able to see a return. Right, so.
That's where the rundown properties come from in Lansford.
Mhm.
They have absentee landlords that have never, ever seen a property. And they don't know that the windows are falling out, and they don't know that the tenants aren't cutting the grass, and they don't know that the porch is falling off.
I understand.
And, you know, that's a big part of being a landlord, is maintaining your property and not having these blighted properties, which the county.
And whatever happened to inspections, like thorough inspections?
but I think, but to address that, I do know when Dale was here, I do think there should be some looked at, and that should also be a part of this committee to help some of those township boroughs, whatever, to be able to do it, because the height has moved in that direction and Nescahoning has recently moved in that direction. And that would help the tenants that we work with, because in a sense, a landlord can't then become a landlord and rent within that community if they meet a standard. So I don't know how much money it would cost, and it'd be good to maybe get Dale back in here from Lehighton to be able to have an idea what is the expense for them to run that program, because Nescahoning now just recently did it. But that also could be something this group could be involved with, because if we could find them, I'll just come up with a number, $5,000. It then establishes a line for Lansford that says, hey, you can't rent unless you go through us to become a certified renter or landlord in this area to have your property inspected to meet a certain standard. And I think that's something that
I
could
think a
help.
lot of it has to do with your untrained code enforcement officers. And the fact that they let things slide, or they're not trained enough to know what the laws are.
And
That,
also the boroughs or municipalities need to enforce whatever rules they already have.
Correct.
That's part of the problem. The zoning officer can say this is a problem, but if it's not enforced by code enforcement, like,
as far as ordinances are concerned, but then you get into this situation where you have people that just, they couldn't care less about the ordinances, and they just go ahead and they do what they want to do, which is one of the reasons why I'm here today. But we have ordinances and people don't follow them, and our code enforcement officers don't have the authority to, you know, press on with it unless it ends up with a certified mailing, the card comes back, the card doesn't come back, do we file a civil suit? Do we just let it sit? How do we, I think we need more training for our code enforcement people to, and state help, you know, freezing rents maybe, or whatever the case may be, but there's so many options out there for solutions, and I think a big part of Lansford is the code enforcement. Because code enforcement they have an officer, but their quality of life citations and situations have been placed upon the police department, who they claim don't do their job, so now they're out worrying about the guy's grass is 7 inches tall when it's only supposed to be 2 inches tall. Code enforcement has a big part of this as far as slumlords. We don't have that problem in this area, like Nescahoning. We are not as prevalent as they do, you know, Nescahoning or Lansford, Summit Hill. It's a big problem up there.
Yeah.
I think code enforcement is a big issue.
It might be worth looking at your neighboring counties. I live up in Lackawanna County, and I used to work for the city of Scranton. I was the boards, commissions, and authorities coordinator for them. So I worked closely with zoning and with code enforcement. And currently, right now, I volunteer for Jessup. I am the planning commission chairperson. But up in Scranton, Scranton has created a rental registration ordinance. All landowners, all landlords have to they have to register their rentals with the city, and they have to go through the proper inspections with code enforcement and zoning to make sure that all codes, all zoning is up to date
That's what it should.
and the way it should be. Jessup, we just actually came out of a situation, personally for me, my husband's home was affected by this, by negligent code enforcement. The neighboring property, so it's 3 houses, the middle property had a fire, there was an arson, spread to the outer 2 homes. That property should not have been an attractive nuisance, shouldn't have sat for 6 years as an attractive nuisance, but it did. And unfortunately, my husband's home was lost in that. We had to rebuild and do all the things, but in that process, Jessup got smart and realized code enforcement, the code enforcement that they had is no longer viable, right? So we kind of like just fired our code enforcement. Oh.
Yes, this
But
is,
now we have it's Barry Islet who does our code enforcement, and they go around and like literally inspect properties, you know, and are telling folks, hey, you know, this is on your property. This can't be on your property. Like, you need to clean this up. Or your grass is too high, and they will literally come out there and measure it for you, all that good stuff. Oh, hello. And
I got it working.
and we just enacted the ordinances in order to do that. Our quality of life ordinance had to be updated to be enforced. And like I said, we had to get viable code enforcement to go around and doing that. And then also with that piece came changing our zoning. We even had to change our zoning officer. So now we no longer have Marino. And Marino, the Marino brothers were doing both our code enforcement and our zoning. So that was kind of like a conflict. So now we have 2 separate zoning and code enforcement. So I think it might be worth a look at your neighboring counties, neighboring boroughs to see what they do. And like I said, Scranton seems like they have a pretty good handle now on with the rental registrations, because we had a lot of out of town landlords coming in and buying properties and never seeing properties and not knowing anything about the property. And we're paying, you know, us as renters are paying thousands of dollars into rent, and, you know, we're not seeing return on our investment on our end. But now with these inspections, and they're random inspections, like Scranton's code enforcement is going out randomly and inspecting properties. Zoning goes out randomly and inspects the properties. And you know, you're starting to see a lot of the blight is starting to dissipate.
Who enforces? Who enforces the repairs and things that need to be done? Does
In
that-
Scranton?
Does
Yeah,
go to the
that's
police
that's
department?
no, that's Scranton. Scranton's code enforcement and Scranton zoning enforces their own.
They can issue
yes,
citations and
yes.
fines and all that.
Yes, they can. And as a board of commissions authorities coordinator, that was actually one of like my because we had the Scranton, not housing authority. Scranton Board of Appeals. And if your property came up as a blighted property or you had some issue with code, you were taking into either you addressed it, you were given enough time to address it, and if you didn't address it within that time, we sent you letters. Sometimes if we couldn't get you, I would have to send that letter out to a code enforcement officer. The code enforcement officer would go post that letter onto the property. Either way, you're getting that notice. So that's who enforces that. So Scranton has their own set, and they're trained. They have to go through a whole process and schooling in order to get that.
You're seeing the
Yes.
difference.
Yes.
Thank you so much. That's something that
You're welcome.
Very
And also, by the way, personally, I've had a landlord. I've been there. You know, I'm a single mom, barely making by. Now I'm married, thankfully, but barely making by. And luckily it was Parasol Properties. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He's Ron Parasol. He's pretty big up in Lackawanna, but and I know he crosses into Luzerne. But Ron Parasol, he owns a home in Clark Summit. He's a landlord and he's a property manager. But he had me at one of his properties where he was just my property manager. And I was one of those tenants, paid rent on time, everything was good, right? Except for my water bill would never be paid. And my water was a part of my rent, but my water bill was never paid. And so I would have water shutoffs. And the problem with that is my water shutoff also controls my heat. So in the wintertime, I'd have no heat. And that's a major problem. And Ron, he saw that and he's like, I'm sending your rent to the landlord. They're just not. And then finally we got foreclosure notices. And so he said, you know what, Brittany, I'm going to break your lease and I'm going to put you in one of my personal properties in my portfolio. And typically that rent is like $650, which was not within the range. I think it was $657. No, I'm sorry. It was like $700 to $750. That's what it was. He said, I'm going to come down. He came down like $100 for me because he knew I was a good tenant. So landlords will be willing to work with folks, especially if they know they are good tenants. And even like all through COVID, I used to have like a year-to-year lease, but he switched it during COVID to month. And I think he was expecting that, like, you know, I wouldn't be able to sustain employment, which I surprised him, and I was. I literally stayed with Ron from the time that I moved to Scranton. I come from Tobyhanna. So from the time I moved to Scranton about 8 years ago to about 3 years ago when I finally got married and moved to Jessup with my husband, I stayed with Ron. That was about a good, I think, 7 to 8 year period. And I was his long-term tenant. And leaving him, that was hard, you know. If it wasn't that I was going from being a renter to a homeowner, I don't think I would have left Ron.
You got a husband.
Yeah, I got a husband. Yeah. And my husband made sure we're homeowners now. So this is great. But yeah, I think it's just having those tough conversations with the landlords. And it is a tough conversation to be had, but if they know they have good tenants, if they know they have people who are willing to pay, who will do the work, those are conversations that surely can be had. That's it.
Agreed. And I think we've all seen you know, those landlords do indeed exist.
Mhm.
It's,
It's the individual private landlords that
Yes.
are.
That's what we find.
And who
Yeah.
live here, who know
Mhm.
what the income is like here, who know what the community is like here, and who want to work with the community.
Yeah.
To help you out a little bit, I'll put a local hat on here. Code enforcement, and everybody gets on it. Please understand, there is no money in code enforcement.
No.
Okay, so I know, and there's no uniform code enforcement out there. So if a police officer or code enforcement officer goes out and cites someone, till you go through the appeals process, the court hearings and everything else, there's no money.
It costs more to do it
It
than.
costs more to do it
it's
than it
worth.
does to enforce it. Now, there is money in permits.
Oh,
Yeah.
So that's why you always hear, we need a permit to do this, we need a permit to do that, and there is a uniform building code set forth by the states. There is no uniform code. So the grass could be, and I'll just use that as an example, it's not what you're looking for, but the grass in Jim Thorpe could be 4 inches, the grass in Nescahoning could be 2. There's nothing uniform across, and what happens with that is when that code enforcement gets out there, people often say, well, that doesn't happen in Jim Thorpe, why is it happening in Lehigh? Or why does it happen in Bonus Town? And then Carbon County is very unique in the fact that we have townships, and that's another whole different code. So, I mean, well, I understand what you're saying. That's why when municipalities say, why don't they hire a code enforcement officer? They do, but it's more, the code enforcement also falls within their building code.
Right.
And their permit process, and that's how they try to offset that cost. But it becomes, you know, to go through the whole thing, and that's why it's not that they don't want to enforce the code. It's just, I know it's got to be done, and there's a payment there, but there's no uniform code out there.
and it's very expensive.
Yes.
We're in the process right now of filing 2 civil litigations against 2 property owners that just absolutely refuse to follow ordinances and code with permits and the like. And it's going to be very expensive for our small little township, but we have to do it because we need people to comply. It's not hard.
No.
You get a piece of paper, you fill it out, you send it in, the board looks at it, we say, okay, with the permit, or we don't, and make them, go through a variance or whatever. But these 2,
These are rental permits.
no, these are property owners.
No. When you say give them a permit,
Well,
permit to rent,
No, he's saying a permit for building. For
building,
construction.
repair, whatever. I have it right here. That we're in the process now filing civil litigations in the Court of Common Pleas for. And it's gonna cost us an arm and a leg, but we need to prove a point. You need to follow procedure and get permits, code enforcement. That's why I said there has to be some kind of like Mike said, there has to be a code for the code. Now you're comparing apples to oranges. Scranton and Mahoning Township, or Scranton and Nesquehoning, they're 2 different.
Oh, I understand, but in
Because
Jessup to Nesquehoning is not so different.
There's no money, like Mike
Right.
said, there's no money and we're working with blighted properties. We just gave the county a list of blighted properties in Mahoning Township. Now that falls on them. Where if we had better code enforcement
Right.
to keep those properties upkept, but we don't because there's no code to follow. And
I personally helped a lot of our clients move into land, a lot of places in Lansford, and one comes to mind. It's up to, we had to get furniture, big couches, all this heavy stuff up 3 flights of rickety stairs in the back. Now, what happens if that falls over? Do they care about that? Like, there's a lot of concerns of a lot of the properties of getting hurt, and like you said, without having heat and stuff like that. I have numerous cases where people did stuff like that would happen if you're living with no heat. Oh, my daughter doesn't mind that. I just put an Afghan on. Well, it shouldn't be like that. You should make one phone call
And that's it.
to the landlord if you can't get in touch with the landlord, property owner, whatever, and it should be fixed. There should be no bullshit when it comes to somebody's safety.
maybe some of you folks should pay a visit to Lansford or invite.
We
them.
have.
And I went around when I was looking for a place here. I came from Hazleton. When I came here, I was looking at places. If you're going to rent something for $750, you might as well look like a rat because that's what it looks like. That's all.
That is.
So I have a question for Frankie. First, I want to thank you both very much for helping me out with my client. I really appreciated that. So, and I'm gonna backtrack with regarding what people look like on paper. Does BlackRock, like, so obviously I'm gonna assume they do criminal backgrounds as well. And I'm not sure I'm gonna word this correctly. Would they give second chances to someone who's in recovery? They're no longer living that lifestyle. Because again, in that area, they don't look good on paper either. That's part of the issue I run into trying to help clients, obtain housing, because they look at it, they have a criminal history.
Criminal history isn't a huge deterrent for us. There are some charges that we don't accept, but anything that's drug related isn't one, right? We're giving people second chances all the time. I understand completely, the whole recovery side, and people do deserve second chances. We give them constantly. There's a very small handful of charges that we don't accept. We don't accept any violent or sex offenders, and we don't accept any arson. Those are the only two things that are no-goes for the policies or practices for BlackRock and the owners. But other than that, criminal background isn't a huge deal. That's a hurdle we could jump over. Same with credit scores. Like so 600 is it's a benchmark, right? If you came to me with somebody with a 580 credit score, a 570 credit score, it's not a complete no, right? It's just circumstances apply. How do they do on their entrance interview? And what do the owners say? Like, at the end of the day, I have a boss too, right? I'm just management. I'm supposed to abide by the local real estate housing laws, but I'm also, I have somebody to answer to it. If they say, like, this isn't the kind of applicant I want my property, then it kind of stops there. I mean, I advocate all the time, you know what I mean? So
I appreciate that. I wanted to correct something. Summit Hill does have a code enforcement officer, and they do a very good job up there. They will take pictures of dog dirt in your yard, and they will cite you. People do listen. Neighbors have called on somebody, their grass was like 2 inches over the limit. Next day, somebody was out there mowing, and they do inspect rentals. Now, I don't know if there's a loophole that anybody gets around. However, they do a pretty good job, and they are trying. I'm not saying it's perfect, because I'm sure there's a way around that. But they do a pretty good job of that, in my opinion. So they've made it work with inspections.
we have a ton of inspections. Yeah, almost every township we have has a rental.
Yeah, they have. So there was one other thing, and I want to go back. So I read something on Facebook regarding one of the posts where people in Lehighton have been very upset because the homeless have been sleeping out in front of businesses, and it's a real problem. I right now have a sticking point, and this is more a personal thing, where if somebody made a comment on Facebook that we are turning into Kensington, we're not far from it.
Right.
But however, and I get we have different reasons why people are homeless. Not everyone who's homeless is an addict. But there are a majority have severe mental health. We can honestly thank the closing, and I hate to say this, closing of the state hospitals contribute a lot to this. But I don't think we're saying our most vulnerable don't count because they don't look good on paper. And we can't, not everybody, why do they say I choose to live in a tent? I'm gonna probably say about 90% have severe mental health issues. Where to them that is normal because their mental health, they don't see things the way we do, that it's not normal. I think we need to take a look at how do we help everybody and not just situational. Because we really don't want to be moving in that direction, where people are, because they're mentally ill and on the street, sleeping in front of businesses. I don't think we want that. It's not just an addiction problem or a mental health problem or crisis, it's a human crisis. And when we start deciphering, I don't see one is any more important than the other. One thing, and I remember a while back, Rob mentioned something about people who are in housing. They manage to stay on housing year after year. Some are on it, I don't remember what year you use, 20, 30 years, they are on housing. So, and I'm not saying this as I'm better than, because I'm gonna tell you something. Over 33 years ago, your office helped me. I had a high school diploma. I worked as a CNA. Every month, your office helped me with $75 a month, and that was my electric bill, that's $75. Going on 43 years old, and I am like, I'm not making it working at that wage, and I went back to school. Am I rich? No, nobody gets rich in this field, let's be honest about that. But my bills are paid. People who are living in places like Gypsy Hill, have we thought about putting a case manager in there that they can do better? Better their lives, better their income, because it's just not a matter of saying to the county or whoever, fork over some money for people. There are people on housing that are very capable of bettering their lives. And that helps everyone, rather than saying, okay, I don't wanna get a better paying job because I'm gonna lose my housing. I'm gonna lose my food stamps. And childcare, because again, you all brought it up. About how expensive childcare. I don't know how you girls do it, but I remember even years and years when my guy was little, it was expensive. Is there something we could do to help the people who have been generation after generation? And I hear it all the time. I go back to school and get a better job.
But
You know,
there's no incentive.
Right.
There's no incentive because the
But
government
here's-
continues to give them food stamps, Medicaid. There's no incentive.
but leaving that outside of it, integrity, dignity of bettering oneself.
Yes.
Yeah,
Is there an issue? What are their barriers that are stopping them? Is it drugs and alcohol? Is it mental health? Why is it? Because I think it's a human problem. What is their motivation to do better, be better?
I agree with a lot of what you're saying. In the mental health world, there are, and that's my background. They're called blended case managers now, but they have case managers, and there is a lot of support in the mental health community. There really is. That I Luzerne County. I don't know about Carbon County. Luzerne.
Oh, way better.
There is a lot of support for mental health. What?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So anyway, but I do agree. And when I talked about situationally homeless and chronic homelessness, I'm not saying one's better than the other or one's worse than the other. I'm just looking at, we start with the situationally homeless because none of it's easy. They're easier to move on. And then you attack the other, if that makes sense. But
It
that,
did what for me, again, coming from our office, it's the fact that I'm watching this get worse in front of my eyes.
and I agree.
You know, like yesterday when I came to work by 8:30, somebody pulled in my parking lot, the shopping cart. Ended up, we had to get him an Uber to the emergency department. He filled this form. It was like totally incoherent. He was having auditory hallucination. A week prior, the guy showed up at my office. We talked to him a little bit. He was crying about mental health. I started to work. I looked out my window. He's now sleeping on the picnic table in front of my office. That this is becoming a daily issue, and a lot of them are falling on our office, which is from drug and alcohol, because they're able to access, our office very easily.
And I agree, it is getting better. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to have some open discussion today. I wanted to, let's brainstorm. Of course, we need more subsidized housing. But what is the answer for the folks that are sleeping outside? Like, okay, it's July, it's going to be July, it's nice weather, but what happens in December?
Right. Right.
And
Now we have the cold weather station. I'm sorry, Kim.
No,
Yeah,
I was just gonna say, as you said, we see it also, and that's why we even see more of our rental assistance monies that we get, either a security deposit or first month's rent or whatever, going more towards homeless prevention than rapid rehousing. And similarly, like you said, they probably have the worst cases on paper. They look the worst on paper, even though they might be very, very good tenants. They're seeking assistance.
And the other thing, Kathy, I do see what you're saying about the situationally homeless, but on the other hand, at the same time, we're helping the situational homeless, those that have mental health, addiction, whatever, they're piling up.
And I agree, and I think we need to
Bring back the state hospitals.
well, we need to do something.
It's something, yeah, because it's not that they wouldn't make very good tenants, but they're up against all these other people going after
Right,
the same
the
businesses, and
same
they're
place.
not being selected by landlords. There's
I mean,
so many other prospects that look simply
boarding homes, like if there was such a thing. I'm sorry, Dr. Lisa, go ahead.
I've been around because I ran United Way years and years ago here in Carbon County. Worked with a lot of the nonprofits, all the housing with Kim, everything. The biggest thing is that our organizations that get this money supply to these people who don't make any money per se, might get them into housing or whatever, they stay there for 30 years. What about the people who are now becoming homeless, do not have that opportunity? There's no way that we have in our society nowadays is to take somebody from here, teach them how to become working, be able to create the finances that they need to rent a place. There's no steps in between. And that's the problem. That's one thing I fell in love with Family Promise over the years, is because they have a program that actually takes these people in to teach them how to become situational, that they can handle the outside world again. So we need to, I think, to find these solutions in between to be able to get these people where they need to go.
I agree. I mean, sometimes people aren't housing, it's generational.
Sure, because they learn how to work the system.
And it shouldn't be. I've even had people that I know that are capable and they're good employees that I've hired as support staff. And they'll say, well, I can't work over a certain amount of hours because I'll lose my benefits.
There's no stepping stone.
Yeah, it's like, let's, try to, and I agree totally about people trying to better themselves. There should be a time limit people in here are gonna hate me, but there should be a time limit on
Because
the amount that you can be on housing. Now, if you're a senior or you're disabled, that's different. But, you know, if you're healthy and able to work or go to school or do whatever for your family, yeah, there should be a time limit.
Is there an issue with transportation for those who can work or go to school?
Yes,
That's the other layer, is there's an issue with how they get there.
yes, there is.
And I
Yes.
don't think the cost of a secondary education is a big thing,
Yeah.
unless you can get a grant or, you know, like this lady further her education. How many of them have the availability to come up with $2,500 to pay for this CNA course at El Tri? But they don't have that funding. If we could maybe help them in some way with the funding to be a CNA or, you know, be a caseworker, it takes a lot longer. I get it. But there has to be a way that we can help these people progress into a better life and make them want that better life. And right now, they have no initiative. They get it, they use it, and they keep it. I also was helped by housing many years ago. And there was a lady that lived in where I was living. She was on housing and welfare and cash assistance and all that other stuff from the time she turned 18 and was still on it at the age of 63 when she passed away. That is horrific. That is an abuse of the system. We got to figure out a way to stop that.
Yes, because if you do that, then you have those available funds to go to the next person.
The next person
bring them
actually
through.
needs.
Absolutely.
To bring them up out of the pit. You know, we don't do that. We just, you know, unfortunately, I know many who are generational in Jim Thorpe that have raised their kids to be able to only work a certain amount of hours if they go to work, you know, or have so many kids so they get enough money, you know, to be able to just substantiate it.
I don't know if maybe it's a conversation to be had with CAO again. But I just remember I have a 13-year-old and I'm also now newly pregnant again. So there's that age gap.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But my 13-year-old, when I first came back home, I had to obviously, you know, get some help. And I went and sat down with CAO, and luckily I had a wonderful case manager who informed me of all these different programs that CAO does offer. And one of them was that you have what's called the newborn exemption. And the newborn exemption is where you're on food stamps and you are on cash assistance for a year. And you do not have to work, but the moment you do return to the workforce, which is a year from the time your baby is born. So Brooklyn had to, and that's my daughter's name, Brooklyn had to go into daycare. They provided me with a daycare stipend, but also they stated, you know, you complete a job readiness program. If you complete the job readiness program, at the end of that, there is a little stipend, and I think it was like $1,200, that if you could find a used car, we will help you pay for that car. And at this time, I lived in Tobyhanna. So everything you need a car for in Tobyhanna. So I did that. I did the work. I said, okay, I will do this. I will, as soon as Brooklyn turned 1, she went into daycare. They pushed me to the top of the list for daycare subsidy. I had to pay, it was like, I think $5 at the time, but every time my income increased, that amount increased with it. And that was fine. I was able to sustain that. The push to, because I did eventually come off of food stamps, and I did eventually come off of cash assistance. Cash assistance, I think I came off within like the first year, that was my push. And my motivation is that I'm like, I don't really want to have to keep reporting back to the government like what I'm doing. That's not fun, you know? Like, I don't want to have to keep being reminded. I want to be able to, yeah,
No,
but
I mean,
everybody's different. But what I'm saying, But that's what I'm
receive
saying.
or
Right.
receive
Yeah.
or
Right,
receive
yeah.
the
Correct.
value out of the pit.
Right.
Correct.
And that's something that we need,
That-
you know.
And so
we
I
can't
don't know,
anything.
my question now is for CAO, is like, I don't know if that program is still.
It's through
exists.
Career Link. Yes, it does.
Okay, good.
But you know, I had an employee that because she was working now, she lost her food stamps. And she was 40 some years old and said, I never had to buy groceries before. How do I budget for this? How do I do this? And I was like, what? But there are people out there that have never spent their own money, you know, they have been on assistance. So that's a different topic for, I think, for a different day. Let's quickly go through our stats, pick our next meeting. Thank you for all of this discussion today. Ryan, family promise.
Well, we have 35 people in our building right now over there, 17 children. Someone just left yesterday. We have to fill that room this week. And
Well, we have 119, 20 on the list.
I know my waiting list. You said that before.
Oh, okay. You.
Great report.
Well, since our last meeting, which was on May 15th, we've had 51 call-ins, people looking for assistance for different situations. Out of that 51, 6 of them identified as street homeless. We had new enrollments. We have 17 since May 15th, and we're currently serving 51 households, open, active, case managed households. We haven't gotten as many HMIS referrals. We only got 3. And the by name list remains at about 26. So that's kind of stable. And these are the people that we probably couldn't help them because they had no incomes, they had nothing. They were, you know, very chronic homeless. So
With the resources that we currently have.
Yeah.
Because we don't even go after the ESG rapid rehousing or any of that anymore. Because we discovered the last time we were involved in it 2 years ago, was it the 22? I think I remember.
Yeah.
We discovered we weren't able to spend the monies because in this program, the referrals come to you from the by name list, whoever's at the top of that by name list. And they could reside anywhere as long as they indicate that they're willing to live in Carbon County. Those referrals come to us. So you could be working with a client who would very well find a landlord that was willing to take them. But if they weren't high enough on that by name list to be referred to us, we couldn't assist them, even though we might have had that pot of money sitting there. So
You may reconsider ESG this year, though. Just
I'll talk to you about it. But well, we also didn't want it to look like we were continuously requesting funding that we couldn't spend. So we started backing away from those monies. We had no problem spending it when we had the ability to enter the person into the whole HMIS system, and we had the ability to select individuals based on their ability to find suitable housing. But this is what happened. And I'd like to just add on to some of the things that you brought up. I think they're very interesting conversations. I think they should be had, and it should be some part of the Housing Solutions.
yes,
committee.
absolutely.
And perhaps we should have people, representatives from the County Assistance Office or from Workforce Investment Agency, to be a part of
Absolutely.
some of those conversations.
And for any case managers, a lot of the nursing homes in St. Luke's and Lehigh Valley will train people to be CNAs, or I forget what the hospitals, there's another different term for a CNA that works in the hospital for free. So, and as far as schooling goes, federal financial aid when you are an adult is wonderful. I mean, I'm grateful to them for that. People just need to apply, and if they can't, there's case managers that can help them do that.
Rob, do you have any?
No, a lot of what, I mean, I'll pass this to Beth, but a lot of it was already discussed. We looked at, from our meeting on May 21st, we looked at what was possible with regards to grants. We discussed landlord meetings. We also discussed if a nonprofit was interested in taking over some type of affordable housing. I mean, there was an example, Jenna brought in an example that was in the newspaper, and we discussed part of what they were experiencing because they were a group that was looking into do some light issues up in the Lansford area. So, but I'll give this to you, Beth.
Commissioner Sofranco, anything?
I have nothing further to add. Thank you for the conversation. It's well worth it.
Kathy, probably a question for Rob, but you had mentioned about Schuylkill County, they end up moving up on the list. Is there like a reason why, or is there a way to get that changed in Carbon County, or is it just we're set in stone that they won't move up on the list if they're listed?
So the board of directors, prior to me coming here, it was probably within 6 months of me coming on board. So it's probably about 2.5, 3 years old at the most. Decided for what they believe is people who are on the waiting list for periods of time are more deserving of the right to be next on the list, as opposed to somebody who is just now homeless, now gets bumped to the top of the list. So that's kind of where that decision was buried. There is one preference. There's two preferences. One, a Carbon County resident gets preference because you do get a lot of people who are out of county coming in. So Carbon County gets preference and veterans get preference. Those are the two categories that get preference. And homeless was a preference prior to maybe like the summer of 2024. And that's where it was decided.
Yeah, we get some families that would rather like couch surf because they know coming here it's not like a benefit. I know your services would benefit them, but they feel like it's not gonna move me up on the list. I'll just stay in my other situation. You know, technically, are they homeless? They're crashing with people, right? But they would rather be in that situation than coming to the shelter.
There's a lot of people that come to us that say they're living with family, but they're not supposed to be living with family. They get caught living there, and then
they might be.
But they're afraid too. When you think of a shelter, you think of a big open room with cots, and when they come in, they're like, "Oh wow!"
Yeah, I always have to explain some of the difference between 5 years ago. When did you come here? A few years ago. You know, I try to explain to them what it was like in the churches and the Lehighton office. I mean, what a difference we're dealing with here a few years back. So, you know, it was rough then, like having to bounce around from church to church. You know.
So our guests have it pretty. Yeah, you know, I'm the marshmallow that doesn't happen. I try.
The only thing I would like to add is I do think that at least in the last 2.5 years here, this committee does a great job of bringing all the issues to the table. And I know I've been at the subcommittee meetings, and I do think we do have to get to is while we all have issues with 10 holes in the dam, we only have 10 fingers. We need to kind of really focus on what one we want to start really clouding and concentrate our efforts wherever that may be. Because there's just, because we all dump all the issues, all the problems, all on the table. So we have to systematically come up with, here's how you solve the situation on there. And then there are those that just don't want help.
Right.
And I don't know, and I don't think anybody in this room really knows how to reach that area. But if we just keep spinning tires going on about that, we need to, you know, and I know we all know that, and it's easy for me to sit here and say that, but I do think Kathy and the subcommittee has been doing a good job of trying to take every point that's come to these meetings and focus it down onto one. So I would just ask us from the county side that if we can get down to those one or two, it's a lot easier for us as county commissioners to say, okay, these are the 3 points or the 2 points that you really want to see the funding go to. It just sometimes you kind of offer it. Those who follow it, that's where you go. Those who don't, well, then that's a bad offer. We go somewhere else. And it also makes it easier on our side when we go to the state. You know, we say this is where Carbon County has focused their 3 points. Because when you throw everything at them, they go, huh, everybody puts their hands up and say, oh, there's not enough money to do it.
Mhm.
But if we can give us a direction, that's really what we're looking for. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you
folks.
for your time.
So the, I guess homeless task force meeting 2.0 will continue with the housing solutions, meeting at 6 o'clock, July 14th.
That's a Tuesday night.
Yes.
Okay. Here at 6
That,
p.m.
yeah, that will be here.
Okay.
Our next homeless task force meeting, which maybe we'll have so many great answers from that meeting. Yeah, I'm delusional. But yeah, who knows? We might. July 24th, we can have it here. Brandon, is that okay with you for a link?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, July 24th, 9 a.m. And I'll have coffee and snacks. Thank you so much. This was great. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you.
So has taken over for the Blue Brothers station. That's what I was just saying.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.